Alright everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Cat Beefy with the Game Vault, and we're going to talk about Ubisoft once again. This is part 3 of a three video arc on this company that used to be one of the greats and now is one of the worst companies out there. So let's cue it to music and we'll talk about this. Alright, so financial analysts downgrade Ubisoft stock, citing Star Wars Outlaws and predicting it will underperform expectations. Now, a lot of people saw Star Wars Outlaws when it was first announced. Trailers came out, people said it looks terrible. They didn't like the character, they didn't like the way the face of the character looked. It's been accused that she is a ma'am solo, which is where they tried to make the actress ugly to fit Western ideologies right now. And if you look at Ubisoft and who works at Ubisoft, I can see why they would do that and why they would feel a little, jealous of a real pretty woman, because these women tend to be. Anyways, we'll get away from that. I don't want to make things personal there. But yeah, they don't like the male gaze. They say the male gaze is toxic, right? Straight men make up the largest number of gamers out there. I don't care what you say. And women can argue all they want that, well, we make 50% of gamers. No, you don't. You only do that because when they include numbers for mobile games like, match threes and all that, that's when the ladies come up in big numbers. That's when the ladies will join in and have a force. But, you guys aren't out there playing Star Wars Outlaws and Call of Duty and stuff like that. Some of you are. I will grant you that. There are a large number, but you are nowhere near 50% of the gaming community. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. You can want to massage numbers all you want and play around with them. Statistics can be manipulated. I understand that. I'm not stupid, but I'm not going to fall for, bullshit interpretations of statistics and all. Well, anyway, let's move on with this story here. A new report reveals that multiple financial analysts have downgraded Ubisoft stock, with a number of them citing Star Wars Outlaws and predicting the game will underperform expectations. Bloomberg reports the investment firm BNP Paribas downgraded the stock to neutral on Wednesday. The firm's analyst Nicholas Langlet, who is described by Bloomberg as a bull of Ubisoft Entertainment SA, downgraded the stock, citing a crowded release schedule and increased competition, including Grand Theft Auto 6. According to the new report, Langlet cut his price target on the stock by more than half to $14.50, a new low among analysts tracked by Bloomberg. So the stock is like 50% of what it was a year ago, roughly. It has taken a dive, and there's been several reasons for it. Ubisoft's gotten a lot of negative press over the last year, and even longer than that. Their quality has slipped in gaming for years now. Their big open world games, their Far Cries and all that, their big Assassin's Creed games like Valhalla and the upcoming Shadows, just haven't been up to snuff. There's a lot of repetition in them, a lot of uninspired, busy work just to bloat game time, gameplay times and stuff like that, and to keep people engaged in the game to get that little 100% trophy. But it's just busy work, and it's not fun, and it can be aggravating. I enjoyed Valhalla to some degree, and to a large degree, when I could lose myself in the game and just, oh my god, I'm traveling here, we're on our long ship and the men are singing and we're gonna go raid, and it was fun. It was an absolute blast. I loved it. But then there were times when it was aggravating. It's like, oh, here I've got to stack these rocks up again. Oh, I got to go here and do this weird little parkour puzzle. Oh, now there's a gay guy that wants to have sex with me. It just, all these weird little things that would pop up that would just kind of ruin that experience from time to time. Never fully ruined it, but it did take away from it quite a bit, and it's frustrating. I just wanted to go out there and be a Viking and take over England and have fun and raid and murder and all that fun stuff. You may laugh at me, but that's what I bought the game for. I didn't buy it to go romance a dude that was running London, and I didn't buy it to stack up little piles of rocks and all that kind of crap. That's just busy work, and it does get annoying after a while. And I have a feeling the new Assassin's Creed, the next open world designed one, is going to be an even bigger it's going to be criticized even more heavily than Valhalla was. A lot of people criticize Valhalla. Like I said, I liked it, to some degree, but there were some frustrating aspects of it. Now, our next one takes place in feudal Japan, and I was looking forward to this one. I'm like, oh, Japanese Assassin's Creed, what a perfect blend, right? Ancient Japan, assassins, and and then they make the protagonist a black guy, and then they try to justify it, and the gaslighting and the attempted justifications and the arguments put forth that defend Yasuke as the choice as the main character are asinine. None of them make any sense, and I'm quite tired of even talking about it because people just come at you with stupid arguments that make no sense. I'm sorry, there's nothing in the world that can justify this character being the protagonist in an Assassin's Creed game. There's nothing you can tell me that would justify it. Absolutely nothing. I don't care. You cannot hide the fact that this was done simply to get DEI points, and that game's going to suffer immensely because of it. Immensely. People are tired of this crap. On top of Langlet downgrading the stock, Cantor Fitzgerald also downgraded Ubisoft stock. Fitzgerald cited Star Wars Outlaws reviews and predicting the game will underperform expectations. Financial analysts Valiant Renegade reacted to these analysts downgrading Ubisoft stock, saying it's going to get even worse, he added. Based on the Wall Street projection of what Ubisoft will have sold on Star Wars Outlaws by March of next year, by the end of March, 6 months from now, I'm betting that Star Wars Outlaws today, September 11, 2024, has probably not even broken 2.5 million units. I guarantee you by March, it'll be half price, if not more. Half price. The game's hasn't been well received. Some people love it, and more power to them. I've said it over and over again. Star Wars is kind of dead to me right now until it gets into better hands, and hopefully Disney does something with that IP, like sell it to somebody who actually gives a shit about Star Wars and stop, putting a bunch of weirdo activists in charge of it that just want to make, garbage movies and garbage TV shows that undermine the whole point of Star Wars and what made it great in the first place. Yeah, until then, I'm done with Star Wars. And the games, they're just as bad. All of it. I'm just tired of it all. It's over. But anyway, if that prediction is true, that's half of what Brayclay's Nick Dempsey predicted the company would sell, based on Ubisoft indicating it would bring in around $500 million for the financial quarter that Star Wars Outlaws released in. Dempsey questions Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot during the company's previous earnings report. When I look at the guidance for Q2, and I assume something similar for back catalog in Q2 and Q1, kind of getting to 200 to 300 million, that sort of range. For the new release, Star Wars Outlaws, when I look at the $70 price, and then assuming what you might get from it, I'm getting to around 5 million units. Something in that sort of bracket. First of all, where could I be going wrong with that thinking? Secondly, are you just being pretty conservative in your guidance? Because I guess given the interest in the game, we might have thought it would be more than 5 million units. I mean, 5 million units is a lot in a game, but it's not, an amazing number. But it's pretty solid for a known IP like, like Star Wars. Even though Outlaws isn't an IP as a game, Star Wars it has a built-in fan base. You would think that number would be much higher. Just like you would think that the new Assassin's Creed is going to have a monster number, because this is an IP that is beloved by a lot of people. It's hated by a lot of people. Ever since came out, Origins, where they went to that open world style to the game, you kind of divided the fan base of it now, which really kind of sucks. They shot themselves in the foot with that one, because they'll never be able to release another Assassin's Creed game without upsetting a portion of the fan base, because some people like the open world, some people want the shorter, more tight games, and that's just the fact of it. So never again is an Assassin's Creed game going to be great for everybody involved, where everybody's just going to be like, yes, this is what I wanted. So, good job, Ubisoft. But anyway, Guillemot responded, we can't comment on the very numbers you're quoting, but what we have factored in is a strong launch for Star Wars Outlaws that reflects the fact that it is among the most awaited games of the industry this year, and a really strong positive community sentiment. There wasn't a strong community sentiment. Sorry, buddy. And also the fact that we are coming with the biggest marketing campaign ever so far for an Ubisoft game. That means more money. So that's what we've been factoring in the second quarter. So that marketing costs a lot of money, and you guys are you're throwing money down a hole right now for Star Wars, and you'll be doing it again for in November for Assassin's Creed Shadows, if it releases in November, there's always that opportunity that Ubisoft could take it off the shelf, rework it a little bit, and maybe make some vital changes that would make a lot of people happy and maybe get that game back on the radar again in a positive light, because it's just been negative so far. I mean, there's some positive to it, but not a lot. It's mainly negative. People are talking down about it, myself included, because it looks like absolute garbage. And it's not just the black protagonist, it's the hip-hop music during the fighting, it's the Chinese building designs, it's all these little things that people have picked out and picked this game apart with, that it just feels like this lazy cut-and-paste effort that they're doing. So, whatever. It does not appear that the strong positive community sentiment turned into actual sales, and Valiant Renegade later asserted, Ubisoft is going under, and I predicted this. We're approaching a bankruptcy thing or a buyout situation, and it looks like the buyout situation is coming into play. Ouch. From there, he cited AJ Investments that sent an open letter to the board of directors at Ubisoft urging the company to go private or sell to a strategic investor. In this letter, the investment firm specifically took issue with Ubisoft's lowering of its revenue outlook for its second quarter when Star Wars Outlaws released. So, bankruptcy would be bad, but, getting taken over by or someone buying them out, that's an interesting option there. And as long, I think Tencent owns 51% of the studio already, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right on that? I think I'm right on that. Yeah, but anyway, they're the majority holder here. Chinese company. Anyway, the firm wrote, the recent quarterly results, which included the postponement of games like Rainbow Six Siege and The Division into the 2025 lineup and lowered revenue outlook for Q2 2024, have heightened our concerns about the management's ability to deliver value to shareholders over the long term. Share price of Ubisoft has decreased by more than 40% over the last year compared to rise of its competitors and indexes. After detailing how they believe the company should be valued between 40 and 45, the firm posited the reason is not theirs due to current management. Ubisoft at current state is mismanaged and shareholders are hostages of Guillemot family members and Tencent who take advantage of them. Management is focused on pleasing investors with beating quarterly results and not focusing on long-term strategy to provide exceptional experience for gamers. You don't show a return when you go for the long game as quickly, right? But it tends to be... But if you play the long game and you go for long-term success, you tend to have more success in the long run. You could bring in more money short-term by doing certain things and manipulating things in different ways, but eventually it catches up with you because it's kind of like cheating, Anyway, let's move on. As for why he believes the company will go bankrupt or be forced into a buyout situation, Valiant Renegade had pointed to the Walt Disney Company, which owns Star Wars. He said, the woke is what has murdered this stuff. It's very simple. The Walt Disney Company, the same company that destroyed Marvel in phases 4 and 5, the same company that has destroyed Star Wars since day one, is the same company that is now destroying another partner out there. The Walt Disney Company has put an enormous amount of downward negative pressure on Hasbro because the fact that they broke Marvel and they broke Star Wars. And Hasbro is on the hook for billions of dollars in licensing fees for those toys that they can't sell, like Captain Marvel, like Miss Marvel, and all this other trash that they had to spend a ton of money to produce. Same with new Star Wars. All the money they lose with Rose Tico dolls, Reva stuff, and all this crap, people don't want it. That's how woke breaks people, he declared. And he is absolutely right. Absolutely right. People will argue all day and all night that it's not true, but it is true. Maybe it wasn't true 5 years ago when people were scared of being labeled something by that woke audience, would like to scream and get people in trouble with their jobs and try to get them fired. But as we've seen time and time again, you can't make them happy no matter what you do. And there's always going to be some infighting within that crowd. And eventually they're going to destroy themselves. They're going to eat away. It's a cancer, and they're going to eat themselves up with that because, not everybody is part of a hive mind, right? Not everybody can agree that everything is good or bad. So as soon as somebody's like, well, no, I don't agree with that. I agree with these 99 things, but that 100th thing I don't agree with. Well, now you're out of the club. And they're coming for you, and they're going to just destroy you. And then the other side, we're sitting on the other side, and we wait, and we watch, and we're like, Oh boy, they're catching a lot of hell and all that. And finally, you come to us, and you're like, hey man, what happened? We're like, hey man, it's cool. You all right? You survived that? All right, come on, welcome aboard. I'm sorry it had to happen to you, but that's the way it goes. Still later, he noted, this is where the woke side comes in. It is like that many other Hollywood studios, television and film, and in this case, game development studios have succumbed to the DEI ideology where they are just hiring people to fill a void. He continued, because they can say, oh, we now have 30% of our game developers and our game writers and all this kind of stuff are women. Sweet. Are they any good? Anyway, what do you think about these financial analysts downgrading Ubisoft stock? And do you think Ubisoft's going to go bankrupt or be forced to sell? That would be huge. That would be absolutely huge. Who would buy them? Are we going to look at like Microsoft acquiring Ubisoft at that point? I mean, my God, they've already done enough damage to this industry by buying up all these big companies and then laying off thousands of people. I'd hate to see if they got a hold of Ubisoft. It wouldn't shock me if they tried. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but let me know what you think down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. I thank you for watching today. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. I'll see you next time. Until then, peace.